Good evening. How are you all doing? Thank you so much for joining me. I'm just going to give it a minute and we will get started. Okay, so if you've been to Spirit Circle before, you know what you need to do. If it is new to you, then you just need to find yourself somewhere comfortable that you will not be disturbed. It's great to have a drink, glass of water or something to help you ground your energy. The first half of this evening's hour-long session is a guided visualization meditation working with spirit. And then I open up for your questions that you want on your journey, on your unfoldment, so that we can get you heading in the right direction. So just drop me a quick comment to let me know that you're here, because it's obviously really lovely, and let me know if you can hear me okay with the music, because this is my big fear now after we had a disaster. So once I know that you can all hear me and the music, I will get going. Excellent, there we are. The comments weren't loading, so that was a little disconcerting for a moment. Never a dull moment, ever. Okay, fantastic. Get nice and comfy, settle back, and let's see where spirit take us. So, as always, with every meditation we do, you are going to start by just closing your eyes and settling in to your physical space, settling in to your body, settling in to yourself. Taking a moment to recognize how you're feeling today, what's going on with you, to just listen to the call of your body, if it's telling you anything you need to know, if your thoughts, your emotions are trying to communicate with you, now is the time where they will. So don't get cross with yourself for bringing stuff up. Your brain, your body is taking this opportunity, this moment of stillness. And I want you to just allow the thoughts to come and then ask them to wait. And take some long, slow, deep breaths. Be aware that your mind may well be trying to sabotage your experience. And just thank it for the things it's reminding you of. And say, later, not now. This is a moment for me. The brain is always wanting to do. On behalf of everybody joining this experience now and in the future, I take this moment to invite our guides, helpers, loved ones, angels, and ancestors to step forward. We know you are around us always, but for the purposes of our work this evening, we want you to come just a little bit closer so that we might feel your energy, so that we might understand your guidance. So that we can surrender and trust and know that we are not alone. And as your guides step forward into this space, you become very aware of the subtle but profound change in your energy around you. It feels like being wrapped in a kind of crackly, goosebumpy hug. And you feel yourself surrendering to that presence and realize that you are being supported. You are being loved. You may have felt alone, but you're realizing now you have never been alone. And surrounded by the unconditional love of your spirit guides, you start to feel lighter, a bit like somebody turned down the volume on all of your worries, your concerns, your restrictions. They're still there, but you feel disconnected from them. And you have this overwhelming sense that everything is going to be okay. It's all going to work out. The universe is always working in your favor. And an image starts to form in your mind, a combination of your imagination and the energy that is coming in from spirit. And you find yourself in a space that is made of light. In every direction that you look, you see nothing but light. You look up and there is light. You look down beneath your feet and there is light. But you feel secure and you are able to stand as if you are stood upon something solid. And in this space of light, you are joined by one of your spirit guides. They appear beside you now, and they may present to you as a human being, or they may present to you as just a colour, as a flickering flame, a movement of energy like a heat wave, an animal. The options are endless, and there is no right or wrong. If you can't see them because you're trying to force it by using your brain, just feel them. Feel that intelligence. Feel that love. Feel their excitement at being with you in this moment. And your guide takes your hand, and as they do, you start to move along in this space of light, gently floating, and you find yourself in a tunnel, and the tunnel is formed of beautiful light in all the colours of the rainbow, moving, swirling. It's light but coloured light. It's breathtakingly beautiful. And you are aware that there are colours there that are beyond your comprehension, beyond your understanding. And you float through the tunnel, looking at the colours, feeling yourself moving further and further into trust and into love, and away from all of the noise and restriction of your human experience. And as you move through this tunnel, you find little pebbles in your hands. They appear as if by magic. Beautiful, brilliant white, round pebbles, some small, some big. And your guide explains that these are the weights of the things you are holding on to that you can let go of now. And as you release the pebble from your hand, you're aware of what it represents, whether it is how you feel about yourself, or an experience that you've had, or a worry that you've got. You hear it clatter on the invisible floor of light, just like when you throw a stone at the seaside. And you let go of another and another. I want you to enjoy just a couple of minutes here with your guide, and you can ask them for their help with some of these pebbles. If you feel like your brain needs answers of how to release, how to get rid of them, let your guide tell you what you need to do. Let your guide inspire you. When it is time to continue, I will call to you. you become aware that you are heading towards the end of the tunnel, and you can see at the end a deep, inky black sky filled with stars. And as you and your guide exit the tunnel, you find yourself floating weightlessly in space. And you realize that in this space, you can fly. And your guide makes you laugh by doing some silly backstroke in the night sky, darting around, and you getting infected by their joy and their silliness. Find yourself cartwheeling, backflipping all through space, while simultaneously having your breath taken away by the beauty of that dark, dark, dark space and the gorgeous twinkling stars. You see a shooting star, you're aware of planets, you can see Milky Ways and cosmoses in the distance. It truly is spectacular. And in the distance, you see a light bigger than a star and moving towards you. A beautiful, bright, white light. And as it gets nearer, you realize it holds a form and yet no form at all. And you understand that it is an angelic being. An angel has come to speak with you this evening. And even though they may not form in keeping with our generalized idea of angels, they may remain as light, they may appear as something else. You find that they can speak to you exactly the same as your guide. It might be your own voice in your own head, using your own words, but it's valuable. What does this angel have to say to you? What do they need you to know? What is the message? The angel hands you a big ball of light, matching their light. And as you reach out and touch it, it moves deep into your energy body and expands out, filling you with its light. Blessings from the angelic realm, the love and comfort of spirit. And you feel yourself expanding into that light. It activates something within you deep and fulfilling and wonderful. And you know that you can carry this light with you for as long as you wish. When you go back to your human existence and the difficulties and the struggles, you can use that light. You can tap into it. You can remind yourself that it's not as bad as you thought it was, that you have the power to overcome anything. This light will bring you stronger connection to your own soul, and therefore the souls of the spirits that walk beside you. This light will heal your energy. It will clear blockages, restrictions, worries, and it's all for you. It's time to return now. So you thank the angel for the energy they have given you, the information and guidance they have shared, for their continued presence in your life. And you take the hand of your guide once more and re-enter the rainbow light tunnel. Move back through it, along it, faster than you went down it. As you go up it, the colours start to blur. Your hair is moved back by the speed at which you are travelling. And you find yourself slowing down towards the end of the tunnel, turning and thanking your guide for this amazing experience, knowing they are with you always. As the tunnel starts to fade and you find yourself back in your body, in this space, and you wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. You take some long, deep breaths. You reconnect with your physical body, and when you are ready, you open your eyes, and if you've got a paper and pen with you, take a moment to just write down the information and guidance you got from Spirit before it starts to fade like dreams do. And when you are ready, you can start popping any questions you've got about your development into the comments, and I will answer as many as I can before we run out of time. Okay, I can see some of you saying we've had trouble with sound again. I like having the music, but the music causes issues. We know it. See, someone's now saying, love the music. Um, it's always a challenge. I will keep experimenting. I did try turning it down when I could see comments from, I thought it was just the YouTube crowd, but I can see someone else saying the sound wasn't great. I tried. We keep trying. Okie dokes. Let me just see if we've got any questions that we want to. Oh, some of you have had great experiences. Good, good. I was worried then because all I could see was the ones where people were saying the sound was rubbish. So I'm glad that some of you, and that's weird, isn't it, that it was okay for some of you and not for others. So I don't know what I do with that one, but I'm really glad that some of you managed to have a good time. Okay, let's just see. Right. Annie T's got a question. She wants to know what the difference is between a ghost and a spirit. Nothing really in its truest sense, Annie T, in the sense that I think they're all the same thing, but you knew there was a but coming. I think we've misrepresented ghosts a little bit. So I think that we are in the spirit world. The spirit world is omnipresent. They're with us, we're with them. There's no separation. And sometimes spirits will pop in. Like I live in an old house, so I have spirits that used to live here popping in to have a look around. Just like I have people that used to live here coming and ringing the doorbell and wanting to look around. And so I think when it's a spirit that we aren't related to or something like that, we start to think of them more like ghosts and like they're stuck here or haunting us, and they're not. Now, there is energy, and I do believe in residual energy, and I do believe that you can call energy to you. So I believe that if you feel like something wonky is happening and you get into that fear state, then you can find yourself being haunted, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's, well, I don't believe that it's spirit. I don't believe that spirit haunt people or try to scare people or anything like that. So it's a massively big question because I guess it just depends on your interpretation. But generally speaking, I would say spirits are real, ghosts don't exist. But that would really trigger some people, so I'm trying to tread a line through it. I hope that doesn't help at all, Annie. Probably doesn't. I'm really glad that worked for you, Alicia. I'm glad the sound got better. Okay. Now, Lee's got a question. Hi, Hannah, that was beautiful. Thank you. Wondered if we are always connected to the same souls or spirits throughout our existence. I don't think so, Lee. I always think it's a little bit like primary school or something like that, where your spirit team will evolve as you evolve. But I will also say that as I've evolved, when I first started working with spirit, I had all these individual spirit guides that I could name that came to work with me for different things. And then all of a sudden, it was just spirit, no form, no nothing. And then I started wondering if the spirit guides I was communicating with were spirit guides or were in fact my higher self, and it's been me all along. And I don't have an answer to that, Lee. I think it's a bit of everything. So I think our experience of guides changes. I believe that there are more spirits working with us than we're ever aware of. There are some that are just beyond our comprehension, but there's like a huge team. And I do believe in soul families, but I think they're very movable. It's not like you reincarnate with the same 10 souls every time. It's more like you're connected with thousands of different souls and you all play different parts in each other's lives. I hope that helps. Annie T's asked if a ghost would be a lost spirit. I don't believe that spirits get lost, Annie. I know some people do, I don't. When I used to do house clearances, when I did believe in that kind of thing, whenever I asked the angels to come and change the energy, they always came immediately, which led to the question, well, if you come, why do you need me to ask? Why wouldn't you just come? If you can see everything that ever was and everything that will be, why do you need me? Which led me down a rabbit hole of wonder where all of my ideas about how spirit worked were shifted and changed and pummeled out of me. So I don't believe that spirits get lost or trapped or stuck here. And this is the crazy thing. I had amazing results with circles where we were releasing what we believed were trapped souls. And I now know to be stuck energy that was being healed, not souls. Still very loving, still shifting stuff, still valuable. But spirit, in my experience, are really intelligent, all knowing, all seeing. Why would they leave someone behind like they've forgotten about them? They are not a frazzled mum at a supermarket who leaves their child in the stroller and forgets about them. They have unlimited energy, they're beyond space and time. So why would they leave anyone behind? But I appreciate that for some of you, that will be really triggering. When I was in my I'm saving the world one soul, trap soul at a time dialogue, I'd have found that really terrific triggering. So you've just got to do the best that you can, but I can only speak the truth. Okay. Good, good, good. I'm glad. I love you guys all sharing your meditation experiences. I'm so glad that even though the sound was wonky, I'll just have to play the music quieter. But then last time I did that, people said they couldn't hear the music. So it's just, it's a conundrum. We'll work it out. Oh, Anne's got a lovely question here. What's the difference between soulmates versus soul contracts? Well, you're asking all the inflammatory questions of me, Annie. I don't believe in soulmates. I don't believe that there is one person that is going to complete you in some way, and that without them, you are incomplete or only half of what you could be. You're only one flame when you're looking for your second. I do believe in people agreeing to be lessons and people agreeing to be experiences for us. And I also play around quite a lot with the idea of like sliding doors. So the multiverse. Every decision you make that changes the outcome of your future, your soul gets to experience all the resulting spin-offs, even if you're not consciously aware of it. So I don't know, in honesty, but I think when we're talking about contracts, it sounds really heavy, but I always imagine spirit sort of sat around a really long business table with a flip chart and wearing power suits. I don't know why. And it's almost like, right, Hannah's going to have a life. And there's a spirit there that says, oh, can I be your childhood bully that flushes your dress in the toilet? That really happens, and makes you wear it wet all day. And can I be the person that tells you that you talk too much and you're irritating? And me going, oh, yes, please. Oh, that'd be brilliant. Yes, I want this duality. I want these things that are going to form me into who I will ultimately become. So less of a contract and more of a agreement. I think there's something really formal about contracts, and I think it's always in love. It's always about giving us what we need and the experiences that we need for our development, for our growth, for where we're going to end up. So, but yeah, I don't believe in soulmates. My poor husband, I'm so unromantic. Yeah, no. I believe in people that you attract to you for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Someone used to say to me, and I completely agree with that, you will grow with them or you won't. And if, some people will serve their purpose in just a very short time with you, and that's how it goes. So there. Lindsay, let's see. I had a feeling in my chest and heart of excitement when we met our spirit guides. Good. I'm so glad. Okay, Danny L's got a question. I'm sorry, guys, I've had a cough, so I'm really irritating with this. I think I got COVID again. I was at a spiritual event the other day where I was providing Reiki and Indian head massage. Oh, Danielle. It was a very quiet stall, so I'd opened up fully intending to use my oracle cards, which I didn't get around to doing. Unfortunately, it dawned on me on my drive home I didn't actually sense or feel it was given anything for spirit or my guides. I was under the impression once you're open, you attract spirits. So why was it I didn't as I was open? Thank you so much. And then I can't read the rest of it. I don't know. On PS on season 2 of your podcast, and that is all it's showing me, Danielle. So sorry about that. You can see on the screen where it's cut you off. Okay. I believe in frequencies. I don't know if you've read my book, Danielle. You are a medium, you just don't know it yet. If not, it's a good read. Highly recommend. Available on Amazon. Um, I believe that we are radios and we tune in to specific frequencies. And it's not that spirit foist themselves upon us, it's us opening up to spirit that are already there. So just like BBC Radio 1 is playing right now, but you're not listening to it, you're listening to me go on. It's exactly the same thing. Spirit are playing, they're out there, they're talking, they're communicating, they're sending their energy, but you're not tuned into that particular station. Now, that is actually a really good thing because I have a pet hate, Danielle, and it's people tuning into spirit when someone has asked for healing. And so, actually, I'm really glad that you weren't aware of spirit because I think we have to always be mindful of people's free will and choice. And if you are healing somebody, they've asked for healing, they haven't asked for you to do a communication or guidance for them. And so, it's an ethical medium would just be doing the Reiki and just be doing the healing. You may well be aware of members of that person's spirit family stepping forward to assist, but it doesn't mean they're stepping forward to communicate. And that is a finite but important distinction. In 10, nearly 11 years of working with spirit, I have had 4 spirits approach me and ask me to give a message to somebody that wasn't looking for a message. Only 4. And every time with those 4, it has been like the entire axis of the planet shifted and it felt like I was going to fall off it because they were so, they knew that it was really important to that person to get that message at that time. But it's not a regular occurrence. And I don't think it should be. So if you look for spirit, you will always find them. But just because you found them doesn't mean they're trying to communicate. And I think about when spirit first came in with me, if they had come in a year earlier, I wouldn't have been ready. And it probably would have cut me off from the rest of the journey because I had to get myself into a space where I was wanting to hear from my grandfather and ready to hear from him. So actually, Danielle, I think you've done it really well and you should be proud of that. It means you were sticking in the healing, you were giving people what you said you were going to give them, which is a really, really good thing of working with integrity. Hope that helps. Okay, next question. Zoe. Hi, lovely Zoe. How can I improve my evidential mediumship? I feel like I'm always open when I work like this and don't restrict my vows, but I just feel totally stumped. Working psychically seems to be fine. I feel a bit blocked. Well, you probably are, Zoe, because we are all blocked. In mediumship, we are trying to overcome ourselves. Essentially, that is what it is. Resistance doesn't come from the spirit world, it comes from us. That feeling like we're not going to get anything comes from us. Spirit aren't there dancing around the edge of our reach going banana bread and then moving back and then going grandma and then moving back. They're there with all of the information, and so it's our job to push through that fear. And so my biggest piece of advice, Zoe, is practice. Start with practice spirits. So in an environment very much like we've just done, you ask for a friendly spirit from the spirit world to come in, who's not connected to you, who's not a guide, and you start perceiving that information in a relaxed space. You know you're not going to be able to check it. You know you're not going to be able to prove to yourself that you can do it from this, but it's the start of the process. So you can see what it feels like when you're not putting boundaries and restrictions in. So you understand what is the availability in your mediumship. And then when you've done that for a little bit and you feel like, okay, right, I really need to prove to myself that I can do this, then comes the torture. And the torture is reading for other people and putting yourself in that vulnerable position where you have to face your fear. And the only way to get through that is to keep doing it. And I'd love to dress it up, but unfortunately that is the journey. I kept waiting to not be afraid so that would know I was ready to work with spirit. But actually that was holding myself back, because you will always be afraid, you will always doubt yourself. So the only way that you start to trust into what you're getting is to start doing it. Just do it, which I know is really irritating. But Zoe, I'm sure I recognise your name. I'm sure you're on the gateway, in which case you can practice with the other students. So put a message in the community and say, I'm really early on in my journey. Would anyone like to be a supportive sitter for me? And I'm sure there'll be loads of people that bite your arm off. Okay. Let's see. Oh, Hayley gets the chills in her crown. How lovely. Okay, Lee. If someone dies when they are very traumatized or in a dark place, does their spirit get extra care after they pass to lighten them again? No. Think of it like a big, heavy winter coat. That's what I think we interact with a lot when we think we're interacting with ghosts. They literally shrug it off and go back to the spirit world where there is no time. And they are instantly healed and whole because there is no time there. So yeah, they get all the love and the light because they're in the love and the light. It's like it's like trying to be on earth and not breathe oxygen. You can't do anything but be the love and the light and the wholeness and the healed. So in that space, it's already happened. So hang on, I'm going to cough. I'm so fed up with this. Anyway, so it's a fascinating thing, but even when people have really horrible passings, when they take their own lives, when they're filled with sadness, when they're responsible for their passing in other ways, and it's big trauma, their spirits are instantly okay. And it's sometimes hard for us to understand because we're still grieving for those people that have had trauma and upsets and difficult passings, but they're over there being very well. And so it's a fascinating but a hopeful thing and a wonderful thing. And please know that when you move into spirit in a long time, Lee, when you're ready, you will be instantly back into the love, back into the light, and back into the wholeness. I don't think a spirit can be anything other than 100% good. And I think that's why we come here. We come here so that we can experience what it's like to not be 100% good, so that we can stub our toes, so that we can get annoyed with people. So, and they're the little things. And then there's the soul agreement things that Annie T was just talking about. We want, when we're over there, I think we think it's a really great idea because it's just constantly wonderful. And we go, yeah, that sounds amazing. Smash my self-esteem, ruin it for me. That'd be fan-bloody-tastic. And then we get here, we've forgotten that we're part of something beyond our human comprehension. And then we're like, why did I come here? This is awful. Anyway, that's what I feel. There we go. Let's see. Naringa, let's have a look. How can I visualize? I can't. I have to think that I'm visualizing of something, but actually I am not. This is a problem. So there are some people that just don't use their mind that way. And there's nothing wrong with that, Naringa, but it's always going to be hard for you in a visualization meditation. I had a student I worked with for years who just didn't see in pictures. I always see in pictures. So I always daydream. My mum is always saying to me, you're in a brown study, because I'm always staring off into space, having some sort of conversation with my imagination. And it does make it easier. Now, I did say in that meditation, because I'm really passionate about this, that it's built partly from spirit and partly from your imagination. Because I think so many people, if you say you're going to be on a beach and then they see a beach that they know, the beach that they saw when they were on holiday last month, they go, oh my God, I'm cheating. I know that beach. I saw that beach on TV yesterday. And actually, that's fine, because the beach isn't the point. The tunnel of rainbow light wasn't the point. The point was the time with your guides and the information that they were bringing. So you might have to sit through some really boring bits if you do another one of these, but that's okay because the sound's in and out, so you might not be able to hear me anyway. Sit through the boring bits, don't worry about the visualization, but when it comes to the bits where you are supposed to be getting a message from spirit, see if you perceive it in another way, whether it's feelings, whether it's words, because they will be with you. We've just got to find a way to unlock how it works for you. For the majority of people, a visualization is the key. It relaxes them into that space. But if you are not seeing things in your mind's eye, then you're going to have to find another way. And that might just be a case of letting them speak to you and hearing it in words, or feeling things rising through you, or just a knowing. And after a while, I mean, we all get obsessed about the clairs, but I think after a while, you just know everything anyway. You just know it. You don't know how you know what you know, you just know it. So don't give up. Keep going. One of the things that I really like to do with spirit, which is not, applicable in the spirit circle, but go for a walk and talk to your spirit guides while you're walking. Imagine they're walking beside you and you're having a chat with them. So you might go better with a more active experience than a visualization. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just going to be frustrating for you while you work out the best way for you to communicate. I hope that helps. Okay. Kirsty, how do I allow myself to develop psychic mediumship skills while spending a large part of my days working in Western medicine where I don't feel I can talk so openly about it? If you don't feel safe talking about it, don't do it. That's my first piece of advice. Don't offer your safe and squishy mediumship, your soft and squishy mediumship, to somebody if there's a chance they're going to squash it. Just don't bother. I've got a lovely lady at the gym that I'm really good friends with, but I just know it's not her bag. Never mentioned it. Luckily, she's never asked what I do. And so we just sort of chat about other stuff. We chat about the workouts and how much pain we're in generally. So don't feel like you need to do that. But if you really want to develop, then you're going to need to find some sort of community, some sort of learning platform where you can practice and where you can have that community to discuss your experiences and what's going on. And that is why I created the Gateway. Because there's such a need for stuff like that. Now, you don't have to do my platform, Kirsty. You know that I would never foist it upon anybody. But you do need to find yourself some sort of community, some sort of space. I think that's why when I do retreats and things, I've just come back from a retreat that I taught on last week. That's kind of where the magic is with them, because we all spend our time editing and being careful. And then to be with a group of people intentionally working with spirit all at the same time, who are all already believers, where you don't have to edit anything, just gives you the most incredible experiences. So you might want to consider doing some sort of in-person retreat, making some friends, getting some connections with people in the spirit world, but don't feel like you need to bring it into every aspect of your life. I know a lot of people say you have to step out of the closet. You don't, not until you're ready. I worked very quietly with spirit for quite a long time before I told anybody. And then I only told people that I felt safe with. And then it progressed from there. But you don't have to kind of jump out straight away. And, you don't have to give your mediumship to people that you know will think you're insane. Don't bother. I hope that helps. Let's see. Max and Eliza want to know if we get to choose our own life before we get here. I think we choose parts of it, and then parts of it we choose as we go along it. So there are certain aspects. I mean, I think I chose a life of white middle class privilege. Certainly. I chose a life in comfort. I do believe that some people, amazing souls, with a bit more gumption than mine, choose much harder and more difficult paths for their evolution, for the experience. But then I also do believe that the choices that I've made along the path have been my choices that have shaped it. So there was a period of time when I first came across spirit where I was feeling very unhappy, very depressed, very weighed down, didn't understand the point of anything. And most of the teaching that spirit gave me was that was in my control. It was my mindset. It was my belief system. It was me playing the victim. And so learning to undo that. So I think there are certain aspects that we have agreed to do before we get here or part of the plan. And then there are like offshoots. So if you think of it like a destination, you start here and the next stage is there, whatever is immovable. Now you have a choice. You can go directly to it or you can go off and round and back and up and you'll still end up with that experience that you've agreed. That's how I currently view it, subject to change in the future, because I like to be clear. My understanding evolves as I do. Okay. Jen has got a question. Do you believe you can communicate with someone who is alive but non-verbal, non-communicative, but has had a lot of near-death experiences? So this person walks in both this world and the spirit world. I do believe that, yes, Jen. I've actually had someone come through who hadn't passed to spirit, but had been suffering from Alzheimer's for 5 years. So absolutely, I do believe that we can communicate with them because, yeah, I think you're right. They're here, but they're not, they're also away. And that's kind of comforting, I think, because when you look at somebody that is non-verbal, non-communicative, you know, you think, oh God, are they locked in? Are they struggling? What are they thinking? Are they conscious? But actually, their soul's having a party and they're just kind of back and forthing. That's my view on it. I hope that makes sense. Mm-mm-mm. Now here we go. Does shrugging off the coat apply to people that have done really bad things to others? Yes. I remember when I first started this journey and I went to see Gordon Smith and Kyle Gray in London at an expo. And Gordon Smith was teaching this exact thing. And I didn't understand it then, and I wasn't ready to hear it. And I was really like, and someone said, really bad people go to spirit world. And he said, yes. And they said, even Hitler. And he said, yes. And there was like a boom across the audience. And I think I was one of the people making that noise. And now I know that he was exactly right. So, yes, I do think that we sometimes, it depends on the thing. And, there are some things that people do that I think that they have agreed to be a trigger for or an upset for or a horrible thing for. And I know there's limits to that. And I would be very careful and mindful about saying that to somebody whose child had been murdered. It's a really difficult and hard, but I think the problem is we it's easy to say a murderer shouldn't get into heaven. But what about that childhood bully of mine who I hated, made every day a misery, would pull down my trousers or pull up my skirt to show everybody my underwear every single day for 2 years. And when they'd finished with me, they started doing horrible things to my family. They rang up my brother pretending to be someone else and said, do you want to meet at the park? And it was them. And then they all laughed at him. Really, really horrible people. But they were probably going through something themselves. No, I don't like the way they treated me. And I certainly didn't like the way they treated my siblings. But so where's the line? I've done bad and shitty things. Do I not get in because I've done bad and shitty things? Or have I made up for it now because I call myself spiritual? And there's all of that kind of stuff in there. I do believe that if a soul does really bad things, without agreement, pre-agreement, really horrible things, that there is some form of healing that needs to happen for them. But remembering, of course, that there's no time in the spirit world. So they're going to go through that process instantly from our point of view, because there's no time. Which is why you can also, just FYI, communicate with somebody's loved one who passed that day. There's no time. So I know that's a really tricky one. And I will not say that I have all of the answers to that. But that's one of the questions that I've played around with spirit quite a lot. And as always, I would encourage you to question it with spirit to see where you get to with it. There we go. Oh, Zoe's thinking of coming on Elevate. I would love that, Zoe. It's really good time now to book onto it, because then, or make the decision that you're going to do it, because then that kind of propels you. It's a bit like if you say you're going to run a marathon. If you've actually booked the ticket and you know you're going to do it, you have to get yourself ready for it. So it'd be great to have you there. I would love to have you there. Okay. Sue Winder's got a little bit of advice on, I don't usually visually see the meditation, but I take myself to the happy place, and that so helps with sleep and meditation. Excellent suggestion. Thank you. Haley's got a question. How are we doing for time? In my mind's eye, I've been seeing what seems like memories of a past loved one, but I know these memories never happened. What's happening there? So what you'll be seeing, Hayley, is a combination. So when we are first working with spirit, we are going through a blending process. So that blending process gets deeper and deeper and deeper. At the beginning, it's more you than spirit. And that's something we all have to accept as mediums. We want it to be 100% spirit. It's never 100% spirit. There's always elements of you. That's the job. And so when that's spirit is sending you information and energy, the information that you are perceiving as a picture in your mind's eye is actually from the energy they've sent you. So it can be along a theme that is correct, but the imagery won't be 100%, which is why often when mediums who see, when they first work with a spirit, they start describing them, they're more often than not wrong when they're learning to develop. Once you can blend quickly, it's fine, because they are creating an image in their mind from the energy that they're getting from the spirit before the blend is full. I hope that makes sense. I had to answer that one really quickly because we're nearly out of time. But basically, there'll be some element of it energetically that is correct. But if you're looking around a room and there's a carpet here and a clock there and a picture there, and you check with somebody and that's not right, there'll be something about the energy that they're taking you to, or the experience that's unfolding, that will be correct, but the room itself will have been built in your mind. And that's really a really important distinction again. I hope that makes sense. Right, we're done. I'm sorry if you didn't get your questions answered. I really loved working with you all. The season 6 of the Mediumship Matters podcast is live. This depends on the sound quality. Maybe on there shortly. If you want to have another go at it, I will try and fiddle it with it and improve it. And there's last month's one as well. And of course, we've got a whole week this week of podcast episodes coming out one Monday to Friday every day. So please do listen. And if your question didn't get answered, pop it over to the podcast, because I love answering questions. So just email podcast@hannahmedium.co.uk and I will answer you on there. Thank you so much for being a part of it. There won't be one in August because I'm on my holidays. But I will see you with an amazing tan and a beer belly in September. I haven't worked out the date yet, but I will let you know as soon as possible. Thanks so much, guys. Take care.